Hello, my name is Willie van Jaarsveld. Today I'm going to discuss the model and start with literally the first line of 26 lines. This model encompasses a strategic management facet or strategic planning rather, and the second main facet of the model is functional management. So point one, strategic planning, which has got to do with all the creative stuff, the seeing of things that are not visible with the physical eye, the imagining of a future, the imagining of whereabouts your company or your life is going to be in 12 months from now, imagining how and when and what methods you're going to use to achieve your goals. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People's author, Stephen R. Covey, actually went as far as to say that one must be proactive as a first goal that you set yourself, or a first habit. Now, being proactive is literally to think before you do. It's one of the most basic differences between animals and human beings. A human being can choose response on whatever stimuli from external sources, whilst an animal, if I, for instance, take a cat of 5 kilograms and put him in the corner, and the cat might become threatened or feel threatened by me, the cat will attack. No matter whether I'm weighing 100 kilograms and the cat is only 5 kilograms, it will react. That's what animals does. That's what they do. In actual fact, we as human beings are very much also into that animal kind of behavior many times, for the simple reason that we react immediately on whatever outward stimuli is. So for instance, somebody drives right in front of you, you just go off the other end, and we're reacting very cross and so forth. Whilst as a human being, we can actually be proactive in as much as we can choose our response. And as far as vision is concerned, if one clearly set out and lay out and have got a very good crystallized image of what you want to achieve in life, it is easier to cut everything off that is not fitting into that specific vision. Michelangelo once stood with a friend in front of a massive square block of granite, and the friend asked, "Now, Michelangelo, what are you going to do with this rock, this block of marble?" And he answered his friend, "I'm going to create a horse." And his friend stood in astonishment, asking, "Now, in creating this horse, how are you going to go about it?" And Michelangelo looked at him quite puzzled and amazed and said, "Well, I'm going to chip everything off that is not horse." So in our life, as soon as we can really crystallize our vision and understand exactly what our purposes are from a spiritual and secular and even a business point of view, it becomes easy to decide and to know what things needs to be included and what are going to be excluded. So the purpose of a model, a business model or personal development model, or such as our model's case is concerned, a combination of secular, spiritual and a business model. The whole idea is to create a formula, or one can even say a recipe, that determines what information needs to be included and what information needs to be excluded. By the very same token that Michelangelo decided that some of the marble must be chipped away and some must stay. So with us, from a secular point of view, we create a vision for a person, or a dream for a person, that in the process we use a lot of secular models to understand what is it that the specific individual, what is it that you as an individual are interested in. What do you like? What's your hobby? What do you like spending time with? And more often than not, we find that those stuff that regenerate yourself, that basically reignite your energy, that is there as a form of energy in spending time with it. Those are the kind of things that you should keep yourself busy as far as calling is concerned. So on a secular level, we've got a dream. I said now I'm going to talk about vision. So on a secular level, we talk about a dream. A dream is all the things that you want for yourself and your family. Also very material things for that matter. A house, a car, where do you want to stay, what lifestyle you want to maintain. That's from a secular point of view. It's very important to crystallize that, because I find that many times people have got a personal dream, but as soon as they go to the second phase, which is the spiritual, then insecurities pop up. So if I've got a well crystallized secular or human dream, if I can say that, then I can go to the next step and looking at my life from a spiritual point of view, more than concentrating on what we call in a spiritual sense a calling. Now there's a big difference between a dream on secular basis and a calling on spiritual basis. A dream on personal basis has got to do with the things that I want for myself and my family, whilst a calling on spiritual level has got to do what I and my family can offer the community in which we operate. So if one look at calling, there's also other instruments, like with the secular, where you can look at personality tests and so forth. We find with the spiritual facet, we look at the 28 talents that the Bible actually prescribe, or say that we actually have got 28 talents. Now I don't know about you, but I've many times read the Bible and I've heard many sermons about, if you've got one talent you must make it 2, or 2 you must make 4, or 5 you must make it 10, and if you don't use it, the one that you've got will be taken away. But that never really made a lot of sense to me, but for that specific information. However, as soon as I realized that the Bible actually show you exactly what talents there are and what the purposes of those talents are, I realized that it is actually very interesting, finding that there's 28 talents from God's perspective, and these spiritual talents, like for instance a gift of poverty, can be linked with physical responsibilities. If I can just explain this one facet, a gift of poverty is not necessarily being poor, but a person being prepared to give literally more away than what he or she has or possesses. Now, what's very imperative about that, if I understand my personality from a secular point of view and from a spiritual point of view, I can then also understand what talents I've got from God's perspective, and even with those talents, how I can go about to develop them, and what kind of talents are linked with what secular jobs, the way we know it, we can very accurately determine our future. So on a secular basis, I've got a dream. On a spiritual level, I've got a calling. But in business, we talk about vision. Now, these three that I'm sharing with now, the dream and the calling and the vision, is the first line of my model. I've already said it is 26 levels deep. Now, it's very important to start with the dream, the calling, and the vision, because that is the three things that's going to energize you to go through this very difficult road of exploring, pioneering, getting to know yourself, getting to know your abilities, your strengths, your weaknesses, and everything that goes with that. So as far as the vision is concerned, in a business, one must have a vision. Now you can say, well, I'm not in a business, I'm working for a big corporate. So this is not applicable on me, but it actually is, because nowadays in South and Southern Africa, and for that matter in the world, it is becoming more and more important that one should be very innovative in your work. Whether you work for yourself as an entrepreneur or you work for a big organization as an entrepreneur. So it's very important to know that there's really not a divide between these two anymore, because both, being on your own as an entrepreneur and also in a big organization as an entrepreneur, both must be innovative. Both jobs do demand being creative. Both jobs do demand teaching yourself, adopting a culture of learning, and everything that goes with that. So, in the first line, we've got dream at secular basis, calling at spiritual basis, vision at business level. It's important to understand what your vision is in a business. If you don't focus every day in your business, and if you can't see 5 or 10 years beyond where you are at today and what you are working with, you will soon run into troubled waters. Now, I just want to close off with these 3 examples. The one you might have seen as a movie being Cinderella Man. Cinderella Man basically plays off in the 20s, 30s and onwards from that. And this is a story about a man that had a boxing career, and it's a true story. It's not based on the truth, it is the truth. And this guy had a medium to good boxing career, but he just never could crack it, because although, if I can remember correctly, he had a good right hand, he had quite a weak left hand, so he couldn't really do very well. He never really made the top positions, the top rankings in sport. However, he made some good money up until the Great Depression of the 30s, and he lost all his money. And he and his family were thrown into the most dire, straight poverty position that you can think of. And in this time, he was actually forced to go to clubs and to box at clubs for meager fees, like a couple of dollars each night. And during this process of trying to earn some money on the days that he hadn't had any work to do at the docks, maybe, where they just only choose a little bit of all the people that were there every day, he then broke his hand about 2 or 3 times. So much so that later on they revoked his boxing license. What's important about this is, with the broken hand, he was then forced to go to the docks and work at the docks. And although his hand was in plaster, he got a job and his friend covered him. But in this position, he was forced to work more, to lean on the left hand and not on the right hand. And after some time, one of his old coach came to him and offered him out of the blue boxing bout against the up-and-coming world champion, of whom the opponent was hurt just before the fight, and nobody was prepared to get into the ring with this guy at the 3 days notice. So he could actually land a $250 prize, win or lose, if he was just prepared to get into the ring with this guy. Long story short, he actually got into the ring, he boxed, he won, and after a couple of bouts further, he went ahead and he won the world championships in boxing. Now, Cinderella Man, when he was afterwards, or during his move back into boxing, one of the journalists asked him, "Now, Cinderella Man, tell us, you had a good, medium to good boxing career before. What was the difference? What is the difference now that you do so well in relation to back then?" And he had one simple answer. He actually said milk. And when the person asked him what milk, it afterwards became very apparent and very clear that during the Depression, many times he couldn't give milk to the children. He didn't have milk for him or his wife. And that became one of his major drives in life, just to put bread on the table. So if we can really, in our vision, get so much crystallized that we know exactly what we need to do, how to do it, when to do it, we will achieve success. 3 facets: secular dream, spiritual calling, business, a vision. If one understands the differences and crystallize all of them, they can basically work in sync with each other and not in opposition with each other. My name is Willie van Jaarsveld. My telephone number is 082 4321 287. 082 4321 287. Phone me if you want to have more details about this model that are 26 levels deep and that will help you to turn your life around. Thank you.